So I am with my friend and yours because you've seen her in the chat. This is Betty R.
Hello.
And I have been here for, gosh, getting close to a month.
Yes, almost.
And
Yeah.
she hasn't thrown me out, so I guess
No.
I've been an okay guest. And it's
Uh-huh.
just been wonderful and very therapeutic and a break that I needed. I'm sorry to you folks who didn't see me at the antique show in Florida, but I will be there in February, so we'll catch up then. And it is Denise Carter. Good to see you here. So, welcome to the live hall from Tijuana, Mexico. And we have been, well, I think we've discovered that there's a little more antiquing here than maybe we thought.
Yeah, that I certainly thought, and heck, I live here, so
Yeah.
I didn't know any of this.
Yeah, it's so interesting because we knew we were going to go across the border and go to an estate sale up in San Diego, and we did, and we went to a flea market and we found cool stuff there too, which we'll show you. But we have just stumbled across vintage. I mean, it's
Yes,
I don't know if it's seeking us out or we're seeking it out, but it just keeps appearing everywhere we go.
yes.
So where was the first place that we found stuff?
Oh, we went to the we call it sobre ruedas, which is basically like a flea market. Yeah, kind of a flea market, maybe swap meet kind of vibe. And the one here in my neighborhood, they are here every Monday. So yes, because last time when you were in Guaymas and Hermosillo, you'd gone to some of those, so you
Right.
kind of knew them. Yeah, they're all over the place. And well, here the word for swap meet here in Mexico is tianguis.
Yes.
And the what the word means is that I'm gonna give you something. We're gonna exchange. You see, we're gonna exchange one item for another.
Ah, like
Yeah,
swap meet. And it's
yeah,
interesting because in California, they call the flea markets swap meets as well.
yes,
And in other
exactly.
parts of the country, like certain places back east, if you say, "Oh, are there any swap meets?" they don't know what you're saying. They don't actually
Oh,
use that term
right.
everywhere. So that's interesting that that
Mhm.
actually translates between the two cultures.
Right, that's right.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
and that was the first place we went.
That was the first place we
Yeah.
went, and we found some cool stuff, and we're going to show you some of that now and as we go throughout the evening. And we also, now the things I show are going to be for sale. I'm not going to ship them internationally, but I will bring things back and ship in the week after Thanksgiving, so next week, if you're interested in anything. So this isn't a live sale per se, but if you see something you like, send an email to me at theantiquenomad@gmail.com. And please do it before I pack because after today, I bought so much stuff that I can't bring it all. So I'll bring the things that you folks request, and then I will pick the rest up and we'll bring it to Florida for the show in February.
Mhm.
Um, so, yeah, let's talk about things we found at the Mercado because there's some really
Yeah,
cool stuff.
lots of cool things.
Let's see, where should we start? I guess I'll start with this one because this one was a real surprise to me,
So
and
cute.
he
Yeah,
is cute, isn't he? Yeah.
yeah.
So, this guy is a bulldog, obviously. And he has a great face and he looks a little stern, but he also has a certain pose because it turned out, and what made me buy this is I looked at the bottom and it's the Mack Bulldog for Mack trucks. And I thought, oh, and I've seen this label before from New York City. And what I had seen before was actually there was a similar ceramic. These were probably made in Japan. They're pretty lightweight, and I think that they probably had a sticker that came off. But they're from the 60s and 70s, and the one I saw before was a nurse. It was Miss
Oh.
Curated. And that one sold for about $45. So we asked, and thank goodness because mi español no es bueno. Thankfully, Betty was able to ask, and they said the equivalent of, I think it was $7.50
Mhm.
American.
Mhm.
So 150 pesos. It's
Mhm.
about 20 pesos to the dollar right now. And I thought, well, he's really cute, and I think that's probably worth it. I've never seen him before. And I brought him home, and two have sold on eBay in recent times for $85 each. And that was the beginning of, wow, there might be some buys here. And people are not thinking, when you go to this mercado, there's wonderful ice cream, which we've
Oh
tried
yeah.
almost every flavor now.
Yeah.
There's lots of food vendors, there's
Yeah.
secondhand goods, a ton of clothes.
A
What
ton.
else?
Yeah, you're right. Fresh produce, um, uh, cheese. Oh my God, all sorts of foods, and foods that for you to take home, or food they prepare there. All kind of stuff. Furniture. Yeah,
Appliances.
appliances.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just about anything you can imagine. But
Yes.
there were only two vendors that were really devoted to antigüedades. Only two that really mainly emphasized old things and housewares and decor things. And probably 8 or 10 that had vintage items in general. And this is out of about 200. So it's not that there's a ton of people selling this stuff, but because of that, it's also not like dealers are flocking here to find it. And so there were some crazy things that I wasn't expecting, including this guy, which is
Mm-hmm. So neat.
this is so cool. And imagine finding this in Mexico because it's Captain George Vancouver. And
It's the George coin.
it's the George coin. Yes, there we go. I think we can get it in focus here. Oh, I see what I have to do. I'm sorry, I have to cover you up a little bit. Then
Sure.
it'll focus. There we go. Okay, there now you can see it. So, yeah, so George Vancouver, and it has some sort of mounting on the back. So I suspect that these were on posts or stanchions in Vancouver, Canada at some point. It's made of bronze. It's very thick and heavy.
Very heavy.
Yeah, really heavy, like probably 3 pounds at least for something that size. Excuse me, let me have a little water here. It is dry in Tijuana. And the crazy thing is that this was also $7.50, and I just thought, this is something really unusual. Now, I only saw one on eBay. I've never seen one of these before, including in all the times I've shopped in Vancouver, the other BC. It's funny, it's Baja California to British Columbia. So BC to BC, and when I've been in the other BC, I've never seen this piece. I saw one on eBay. They were asking 65. I'm not convinced that it's as valuable as that, but I thought I just couldn't leave it because I'll take it to the Northwest if someone else doesn't buy it in the meantime, and it'll probably go to one of our Canadian customers who comes down to Washington and shops. So, yes, I thought that was cool. Oh, and yes, and I see we have some Canadians in the chat here, so that's cool. And then you broke the ice the first Mercado trip. We've been back, I think, 3 times. Show them what you got the first time because this is beautiful.
Yes, I just really love the colors.
I'm going to get out of the scene so it'll focus. There we go.
Yes.
Yeah, very pretty natural stone. I love the pink in there, the pink and the green.
And it came with a sticker on the bottom. Can we see that?
There we go. Yeah, you got to cover me up so it doesn't focus on our faces. Perfect. Yeah. Yeah, so genuine onyx, and I just assumed it would be made in Mexico, and it turns out that no, it's.
I was kind of hoping.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. The crazy thing is that of all the stuff we've been buying, almost none of it is made in Mexico, although we have seen some good pieces. But later in this conversation, Betty is going to show you some really cool jewelry that is from various parts of Mexico and talk about that. So, so we will have some things from there. And yes, Fossil Forward is one of our rock collectors. And I see a bunch of new folks getting in the chat, and welcome. Okay, so then we were looking for a little stand for your house. And the next place we went into, another similarly unlikely place we weren't expecting vintage.
That was well, we call them Bazaar. And basically they're home decor. And this was, a regular, store, right? It's here in the neighborhood. We didn't have to go that far away. And they had lovely stuff, very well staged.
Yes.
Yes.
Mostly used furniture and decorator items. Very nice. Each little vignette looked like a room in your house. And I wasn't expecting to find old stuff there, but we did find a few things.
Yes. you
Yeah.
did.
The first thing I picked up, and this is early on when I'm thinking, oh, I'm probably not going to find much stuff in Tijuana, so I'm going to buy anything I see. But I like this. It's got a nice pattern. This is a little Demitas cup and saucer, and it's pink with the gold. And this is by a company, it says Bavaria on the back. And sorry, I got to get in front of you so it focuses. It's funny about that. There we go. This costs the equivalent of about $3, and I just thought it was really sweet.
Lovely colors.
Yeah, nice colors, definitely.
And pattern.
Yeah, mid-century.
It's very shiny with the gold everywhere.
Yes, and pink. Yes, yes, I see somebody in the chat saying pink question mark. Oh yeah, well, we both like pink, so you're going to see a little pink.
Yeah.
So that was there, and
Mm-hmm.
and then
The grapes also.
oh yes, that's right. Let me get those next. Sitting on a little table were these, and of course we all recognize these.
I love these.
I love these too. You're looking for what color?
Peacock colors.
Yes.
But this is striking as well, so.
Yeah, I like the orange and amber too.
Mhm.
And a lot of these, of course, were made from kits back in the day, so you could make any color that you wanted. And there that is in a nice focus. And this was $7.50, and I'm seeing crazy prices for these online now. I mean, like
Yeah, I bet.
this size, $40, $45. The bigger sizes are selling for $75 and $80 if they're good colors.
I like this size though.
I like this size
It's
too.
sort of the petite one.
Yeah, you can find room for
Yeah.
it. It's got a little bit of stickum on it. I haven't bothered to peel that off yet, but it will come off. And then I snuck back there with your aunt.
That's true.
Her aunt.
Well, they're restock every week.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And her aunt and I went to lunch, and we were driving back, and she said, "Oh, I really want to go to the Bazaar." And the one she was thinking of wasn't there anymore. And she said, "There's another one I wanted to see." And she points to it, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, we've already been there, but sure, we'll go." And I'm glad we did, because this book was on there, just sitting on a shelf. And no, I don't know this book. I don't know this author, but I thought, well, this is interesting. I'm in Tijuana, and you have mentioned to me that Tijuana is becoming an international city.
It is.
And here is this book that came originally. I know we have some viewers in the chat here from Idaho, and this came all the way from Boise. And somehow it ended up here, but it is about, it says Bahadur means hero, and then it has a whole glossary in the front, and says it's about the Hindu culture in India. And I thought, well, this looks like an interesting subject, and I noticed the price. 30 pesos is about $1.50. And I thought, well, for a used book, if it's not anything, maybe it'll be a good read. I'll just pick it up. And I'll be darned if I didn't look on eBay, and these are selling for about $25. So, you know, sometimes when you have a hunch, you just have to obey your hunch, especially if you're someplace where you don't have your phone, you don't have eBay, you don't have WorthPoint. Just take a chance, especially if it doesn't cost much. I mean, the worst that could have happened is I read it and I donate it for $1.50, but now it turns out, well, someone else will want to read it too. So that was cool. And then her aunt, your aunt was not so impressed with this.
I was.
She liked it. Now this, I believe, was made in Mexico because it doesn't have any country of origin information on it. But this is a big old spider made of iron. Would have been nice to have at Halloween, but it's made to hold a candle. It was 150 pesos, about $7.50, and you can see it was all handmade on the bottom. And it looks like it's crawling up the screen.
You did.
Yes. I just thought it was cool, and I see some of you in the chat are saying it's cool, and some of you are being very quiet, so I know that I know who our spider lovers and non-spider lovers are. But I just thought it was neat looking, and you know, it clearly had some age. It looks like the kind of thing they were doing in the 70s and 80s. And it is not itsy bitsy, that is true. It is huge. And let's see if I can do this actually. There we go. Yes. Hello there, everybody. Okay. I got to remember I can actually put some of your comments on the board here. So So those things came from my sneaking off with your aunt.
Yeah.
Gosh,
You also got some jewelry at the mercado.
yes, that's true. Actually, yeah, I can show that because I've already blown the jewelry thing that you're going to show later. So
Yeah,
we'll just go
you
ahead
show
and
it.
show some of these now.
Mhm.
So these came from the Mercado because we went back to the Mercado, of course. And this one, here, I'll tell you what, I'll let you hold it up because if you hold it up and I duck, then they'll be able to see it.
Mhm.
There you go. Yes. This was in nice shape and it's definitely flower power all the way. And it's big. I like that it was big.
Yeah. Here's the back.
Yeah, all the jewelry that I bought, there were 6 pieces. None of them are signed. I just bought it from the look, and it's funny. Penny says $7 seems to be the popular price for things. Yes, you're right. Actually, I think it's because that works out to like 150 pesos, so it's kind of an even number. We're getting close to Christmas, of course, so had to buy this, and I'll tell you the price that we paid for all of this when we show you all of it. Okay, let me get out of the way. If you put it in front of your face, there you go. Yes. And so this is nice. It's 70s. You know, they're just fun and inexpensive and fun to wear at the holidays. And it has little ornaments on it. Yeah, I thought that was a good flower power too. And then here is,
Nice. This one.
yeah, this one's very pretty. This is a late 50s piece when they first figured out to use the carnival iridescence in what they call aurora borealis stones. I don't know why it took them that long because they had carnival glass back in 1910, but they didn't ever use it in jewelry until the 50s when carnival glass became popular again. But this one was nice because it's got a shape, it's prong set. We don't know who the maker is, but it was nice, and you know it's something. It's a good color for holiday. They would make 4 seasons of jewelry a year, and holiday was always a little more formal. And this has actually sort of a lavender tint to it. It may not show on the screen the way it does in person, but anyway, yeah, it actually goes from gray to lavender a little bit. And this one, you have a really nice Trifari brooch you wore the other night. And
Oh,
I was
that's
thinking this
true.
might be Trifari. It's not signed, but it definitely has that 70s gold tone with the bow. And I like the rhinestone wrap, and it's big. Again, I like big. If you can see it from outer space, it's the right size. Because people who wear vintage costume, they really like to show it off.
Yeah.
And then there's this, which I'll let you drape over her wrist and hold up. The fellow, he was so nice. It was really on the small side, but it was big and chunky, and it's plastic, which is actually great. It's 70s, but what's great about it being plastic is it doesn't weigh a ton, so it's easy to wear, and it has good motion. And again, there's that pink color, and the uh, the thing I liked about this was, and it was so nice of him, he put extra links in it so that because I tried putting it around my wrist and it wouldn't even fit, and I have really narrow wrists for a guy. And I said, "Oh, it's not going to fit my customer." And he said, "I have another one that has the same links. I'll just fix it for you right here." And he did it on the spot, which was amazing, especially because for all those plus this, which I'll let you hold. I think I have it. There we go. And this one's just a nice looking bib. We figured out that the clasp is a little hard to use, so probably have to convert that to a hoop or something. But again, it's 70s. It's a no name, but it just has a good look. It's something that looks good on.
Hmm.
And what I and yes, the sound it's making, that is a lot of the appeal in jewelry is, you know, it's not just the look, it's like it's got motion, it makes a little noise, it draws attention, that's the point. And all 6 of those pieces together, with him adding links and doing work to make the sale, were $11 US for 6.
Hmm.
I was just amazed. And I thought, oh, we are shopping in the right place. But then we went back the next 2 weeks and he didn't have anything new. So I think
No.
I think we extinguished his vintage stock. But that was pretty cool.
Hmm.
And let's see, where did we go after that? We have more from the Mercado we'll show you, but we've been all over the place.
Yes, I think we went to the estate sale.
Oh, that's right.
And
Yeah.
then from there to the Kobe swap meet.
Oh, yes. Okay. Well, Let's show a couple of things you got at the estate sale first, and then I'll
Oh,
show you some of the ones that I got if you have them
yeah. Oh,
handy.
sure. At the
Um,
estate sale. Let me see.
yeah, we crossed the border, which thankfully she's got the fast pass and I was able to walk through. So crossing the border was not hard. If you get checked out and you have all the right credentials, then border crossing is a pretty regular thing because a lot of people, there's 2 million people in Tijuana and 4 million in San Diego and a lot of cross-border traffic and business. And so they are set up for that here. And so if you have your credentials, you actually travel through really quickly, which was really interesting to find out.
Mm-hmm.
I was amazed. It was like we were at the estate sale in an hour, and we got there an hour after it opened. And I just want to say to you Californians who are watching this, we will have video, by the way, of these various places we went and other places too that will be beyond even what we talk about here. But I have heard a lot of Southern Californians say, oh, there's never anything good at the estate sales. Well, we were an hour late. It was a tiny house.
Mm-hmm.
And we spent, what, $100 between the two of us and
Oh,
got
yeah.
a ton of good stuff.
Yes, yes. And a subscriber
Oh, that's
said
right.
hello to you while you were filming.
That was fun. Yes, yes.
Yes, as soon as George started talking, describing an item, she turned around and said, "It's you!"
Yeah, that was fun because I wasn't expecting it at all.
Yeah,
I haven't shopped in California before, so that was a first. So you got these two pieces for your
Mhm.
collection,
Yeah,
and this is
lovely.
this is really nice.
Mm-hmm.
And this one is Candlewick, and you can see what she paid. These are American prices on here, $4. Candlewick is such a great pattern with the little balls around the edge, and it's all fire polished, so you don't see any seams. So it's really good quality. And this is one of 641 different pieces in that line. It's amazing how many.
Amazing.
Yeah, I mean, you could do like a giant banquet table full of Candlewick and not fit everything that they made. But this is a particularly nice one because of it's a relish and you can put three different things and it's got the dividers so juices stay separate and, 'tis the season, so good timing for that.
Yes, we will use it.
And then
then-
this.
Yeah, I paid $10 for this.
Yeah.
This was the first day of the estate sale.
Yeah, so the prices were good, and yeah, it
Yes,
was
very
day
good
one.
for day one.
And I've noticed Southern California doesn't seem to appreciate glass as much as some places because I thought, oh boy, this is $10 for a nice 1950s Fenton opalescent, and this would be even at an estate sale. If I had this in Washington, we'd price it at like 15 or 18, and it would sell right away. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I thought you got a very nice deal.
Yeah. And then I also got this other little piece.
And this is really cute. This is press cut, and it's a nice little cake plate, but for like a small cake, a
Right.
torte size or something.
Yes, the mini.
Yeah, yeah.
The mini
and,
cupcakes.
and I would say this is 1920s. And again, because it's pressed clear glass, people aren't really paying attention to this right now. But I'm starting to see younger people are starting to get into this. When I was in Kentucky at the Antique Mall the last time, I saw 3 people in their 30s and 40s, and they had carts, and all of them had 2 or 3 pieces of clear glass each in them. And what's great about this is you can use it on a table for service, but you can also use it on a dresser for a riser if you want to put
That's
things
true.
on it. You could lay makeup brushes across it. I mean, people are finding a lot of inventive ways to do this. And yes, I like the edge too. So
Mm-hmm. Yes.
yeah, so
I can't remember the
yeah,
price, but
very cool
very
stuff.
good. Very. I was surprised about how accessible the prices were.
Yeah, they really were. San Diego is one of the most expensive cities to live in the world, so you would think everything would be expensive, but not at the estate sale. And I showed the one that I found you. Yes. This was really sweet. If any of you have been to San Diego, you may have seen a wonderful old yacht from the 1890s sitting in the harbor. It's called the Star of the Sea. And why was this of interest to you?
Well, because next to it for many years was the restaurant Anthony's Fish Grotto, and they had the Star of the Sea room, and my dad worked there.
Yes,
Yes.
that's so cool.
Yes.
Yeah, I spotted this. This was actually the first thing we found at the estate sale. And it's like, oh, didn't your dad work there? And she's
Mm.
like, ooh, mine.
Yes, that's true.
So that was really fun.
Hmm.
And then I found a bunch of stuff, and I'm going to show you because it was an interesting variety. Let's see, I'll just have to move a thing or two here. Uh, okay, so the first thing I'll show you is not something that my customer, I'll show you two things that came from the garage, and you're going to say, oh,
The tiniest garage ever.
tiniest garage. It was like the size of
Yeah.
a Coke
Yeah.
closet. I mean, maybe a little bigger, but there was a center island that you could walk around, and then the tools, and it was extremely neatly kept.
Yes.
And everything was from the 1950s. And I thought,
Like a
well,
time capsule.
like a
kinda.
time capsule. And I thought,
Yeah.
well, this is in the box, and it's $10, and it's Craftsman. And I thought, well, you know, Craftsman's a good name. These, back when Sears was around, would have been guaranteed for life. And I remember my father had a doweling jig. I couldn't tell you at all what it was used to do. But then I opened it. It's new in the box. It has the paperwork. And I realize that for a lot of our viewers of my channel, this might not be something that you say, oh, that's beautiful, I want in my house. But for resellers or collectors of tools, these sell for $30 online, and they had it priced at $10, and it's flawless. And so garages are good places to look. Don't just assume. And also, certain things end up in garages, like old coffee tins, old kitchen things that end up being repurposed to hold tools and stuff end up in there. So it's not always just sort of old garage stuff. But another thing, I bought one other thing out there, and these are very popular because they're useful to a lot of people, and people like the looks. This is an old oiler, and yeah, let's see, we'll hide ourselves. There you go. The old oiler, and you fill these and then you squirt oil out, and I won't do that. And yeah, I'm glad you appreciate this because it actually is cool, and a lot of people are buying these to use around the house. And these old styles from the 50s are pretty collectible now. And I think that was maybe $5, and looked online, and they're selling for about 25. So don't overlook the garage, folks. Um, yes, see, somebody knows what the jig is. That's good. The jig is up.
Mhm.
But then there were other things that were really cute in that sale too. This guy, it's funny. Now this I suspect is from Mexico. It doesn't say so, but Mexico or Latin America somewhere, because it's supposed to be a crocodile. I will take it to Florida where they have crocodiles as well. And it is a whistle. Well, maybe if you plug the holes a little better. There you go.
No.
Demonstration, yes. I couldn't do that at the estate sale. I started to, and then I'm like, I shouldn't be putting my mouth on this because I don't know where it's been. But now it's been washed. So, yeah, I just think they're really cute. Love the painting. It has some age. It's hard to tell how old, but the folks in the house, I would guess they probably lived up until their 90s, because
Yes.
that was a pretty original house with a lot of 50s and 60s stuff in it, didn't you
Right.
think?
Right.
Yeah. So let's see, what else was there? One thing that pays to do, I find, is, you know, take your time and turn around and look on every wall. This was in the kitchen, and the kitchen was jammed really tight. And I turned around, and on a stub wall that I think no one looked at because it was right by the door and it was so tight people were getting out of each other's way. But this was sitting there, or hanging there actually, right on the wall. And it's a cutting board in this blue Danube pattern, which is Japanese from the 70s, but it's based on, it's an extension of the old Meissen blue onion patterns that go back hundreds of years. This one has the Made in Japan mark on it. But Blue Danube in the 1970s was a very collectible pattern, and a lot of people still like it. I've sold a lot of it in my time, and this was $8. Ah, thank you, Carlitos. I believe you're right. It is a Cayman, in which case it probably came from the Caribbean, didn't it? I'm going to pop that up there so everybody sees. I think he is correct about it. I think Carlitos is correct about that. So anyhow, yeah, this piece, blue onion base, but blue Danube, and absolutely collectible. Paid $8. They sell for about 25. I've had them before, so I was just like, oh, yeah, I'll grab
Lovely.
that. And then, you know,
So lovely.
Yeah, just really nice quality too.
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes people say, "Oh, well, it's an estate sale." Well, $8 is a third of what it's worth. So don't always just turn something down because it's not 50 cents.
Mm-hmm.
Which brings me to the next thing. I bought a lot at this estate sale.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this one was okay. This will be kind of big, but I can show you. They had to spread things outside. In fact, I'd say half the stuff in the house was outside on tables because the house was so
Mm-hmm.
little. But this is a big old chess set, and it is classic games. And this particular issue is ancient Rome. And these would have come out in the 70s. And this was the kind of thing that people would have given as Christmas gifts back then. And it was something that was kind of fancy. And if you had someone, oh, perfect, thank you. If you had someone who was interested in the classics and liked chess, and chess was very popular in the 70s because of the famous chess game that was played in 1972 on network television. So there's a set of these in gold and a set in silver, and they show various Roman characters. And I always buy chess sets, especially this time of year, because again, people give them as gifts. And this one was sitting on a table with a bunch of other games, and most of the games were board games, and they were a couple dollars. And this one was $25, and so everybody was walking by it. And I thought, let's take a look and see what these sell for. And they sell for about $60 online. And I thought, well, if it sells for 60 online, I certainly could sell this in a real world store without having to ship it. And it should go pretty well. And yeah, I do think it's awesome. I agree. I thought it was very good and very fun for the price. Now, do you play chess?
Oh no, no. I mean,
No.
I can move the pieces, but that's about it.
Me too. I'm a lousy chess player.
Yeah,
I don't
I
have the
can.
patience. I'm like,
Yeah, we need to, learn the moves.
yeah, if there was speed chess, I'd be great because I could
Yeah.
lose in 5 minutes. I've done it before. But
Mm-hmm.
anyhow, it is a cool piece, and I believe that there's a customer for that. A couple other things too. I always look down. I was just showing Betty this last night. She's like, "Where was that?" Because
Mm-hmm.
she didn't see it. It was in a box with a bunch of scrap leather and some old-looking tools that were not in good shape, and this was kind of buried in there. Oh, let's see there. Someone is saying, how much does the chess set sell for? $50 plus shipping is about where it would go for. Yeah, this is a big one, and it's how to carve leather, and Al Stolman did these in the 50s. But what I loved about it is that when you look inside, not only does it show you all the patterns, but it also tells you all about how to actually do it. Sorry about that.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a big instruction manual on this. And what I love is they show in the front, it's a little awkward, so I won't go through all the pages, but it shows in the front all the things that you can make purses and bags and wallets and all those things. And all of that stuff is really collectible now. And I thought, this is going to be interesting to someone, and they're probably not going to charge much. It didn't have a price on it. And I took it up, and I think they charged me $5. And I almost put it back, and I'm glad I didn't because it turns out that these also sell for about $25 each to people who want to be able to redo the old patterns when they're doing leatherworking. So, sometimes just playing a hunch is the way to go in this business. And besides, I like having lots of different things. I'm not just a one note kind of guy. I like lots of things. Which brings me to one other thing that I have to reach over here for. Okay, whoops. Actually, two other things. This, yes, exactly. Pay to learn. Yeah, maybe it would have been worth $3 and I paid 5, but I learned and I could at least learn what the old patterns were. But it turns out, hey, I got lucky. And in terms of paying to learn, interesting you brought that up.
Mm-hmm.
We spent a little time with this the other night.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
It's really cool. So this is a compendium of Arizona Highways, and Arizona Highways was a magazine, may still be a magazine. I don't know if they still do it, but it was very popular in the 50s, 60s, and 70s because it was all about going through Arizona and seeing what the culture was like, what people made. And so this one, at first I thought it was 1 year of stuff, but it actually is several issues that they just decided to keep. And it's a compendium of various things that people saw. Some is about artists, some is about basketry, but a whole bunch of it in here is about. Oh, well, here's something if you ever watch Nurse Flipper. She loves the Kachina dolls, and there's a bunch of those. So this really is very informative because it talks about all this stuff that people like now, especially this stuff. And this is really why I bought it. And this whole thing was $5. And I thought, for the price of the education, I have to have this because looky there. There are pages and pages and pages in this, all talking about old pawn jewelry, different mines, how you tell one stone of turquoise from another. There's a ton of stuff on squash blossom necklace. This article is on the new traders and is showing this is 1975, so new 50 years ago. All of these artists whose Navajo and Southwestern jewelry is very popular now, and they have a little bit of information about all of them so that you can see and learn and tell the difference between the various tribal attributions. I mean, look at that amazing skull inlaid like that. So I was just super excited about this. I think we spent 20 or 30 minutes just thumbing through and going, wow, this is chock full of good information. So,
yeah, the pictures are really lovely, high quality, almost National Geographic, but very specific
I would say,
to the Native American and their art.
yeah,
Absolutely
absolutely.
lovely.
I just was so knocked out, and they also cover pottery and art. So I just thought this is going to prove to be some of the best $5 I ever spent. At some point, I'm going to find something really good because I saw it in here and say, "Oh, that was worth $5." So, um, yes, it is. It is very cool, and I'm glad that you folks are enjoying looking at it too. And I've had a few people already say, "Ooh, I want to buy that," and what I said was, "Well, I'll tell you what, we'll figure out a loan or something because I think I'm going to need to hang on to that one for a while." And then one other thing, and this was a good lesson. So walked into the last room. It was almost all old computer equipment, really not very interesting stuff, some bad clothes. And everybody was just sort of sticking their head in and turning around and leaving. And on the end of the table next to all this stuff were three duck decoys. One of them was really bad ceramic. One of them was a no name that just looked like something that you would have bought at any store. And then there was this one, and I noticed this one had glass eyes. And as soon as I see glass eyes, I think, ooh, that could be artist. And so, and yes, I will bring it to Teak Stock. That's a great idea. We can all have fun looking at it. So I picked it up, and not only does it have the artist's signature on the bottom, Max Thompson, 1982, when a lot of these artist decoys were starting to really be popular because the preppy look was in. But then he had signed it to Karen Best Wishes Max Thompson. And apparently, this was purchased and signed to the woman who lived in the house where the estate sale was. And I thought, oh, this is interesting. And it was $18. And I thought, yeah, I'm learning that when you see something of good quality with hand painting and glass eyes in this, and I looked it up, and they are selling for about $100 online. So that's just one of those things again where sometimes the best finds are in the not in the obvious places.
Right.
Yeah, it's not in they're putting out the pretty things and the fancy things and the things they know, and then the back room is sometimes the place where you find the best stuff. So yes, Southwest pottery, there's so much to learn and so many interesting pieces. So yes, there's a lot to do that. Oh, your granddad used to get a magazine subscription for that. Yeah, it's a good magazine. So anyhow, so yeah, that was the estate sale.
Mm-hmm.
And then because we just that just wasn't enough.
Yeah.
We did all that in under an hour. That was amazing to me.
Yes.
So
Yes.
then we had lots of time. So where'd we go?
We went to the swap meet.
Yes.
Colby swap meet. Yes.
And
What used to be the San Diego Sports Arena.
right.
And now it's, I think, Pachanga Arena.
I think that's what it's
Yeah.
called, yeah. And that was your suggestion because you saw it on
A YouTube video, yes.
yeah,
With
the niche lady.
the niche lady.
And
that's
maybe
right.
on Thrifter Junker Vintage Hunter too.
That's true.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So thank you for having watched that because I would have missed that. And it turned out to be right down the road, which was pretty convenient. And actually, I think you got cooler stuff there than I did, although I got some neat things. So show some of the stuff you found there.
Okay. Well, we found this lovely little bird.
Yeah.
Yes, that was very unexpected.
Yes.
Yeah, he's lovely.
And he's got the signature on the bottom.
Yes, that's true.
And yeah, there it is. Yeah, Leo Ward. So this is one of the Bluebirds of Happiness made in Arkansas that are very popular now. And you had been looking for one. I was so glad that there it was.
There he was, yeah.
It was just meant to be.
You're right.
And yeah, her necklace is great, and she's going to talk about that and some other Mexican jewelry later, so stay tuned for that.
Don't go. Go get a snack. And then this paperweight, which is, I don't know if you can see, but it's pink on the inside. And it's, yeah, lovely, I thought.
Yeah, nice colors.
Heavy.
Nice controlled
pretty. Yeah. With a little sort of a flower pattern going on there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great color. And I promise we'll show the earrings later too because they're special. And then there were these. I was excited about these.
These pink glasses.
Yes. And it's a little hard with, oh, there we go. Against your shirt, it shows more. Yeah. Yeah, because the yellow sort of changes the color. But they are depression pink.
Yeah.
And they're beautiful with that gold rim. And really elegant. They, back then, that would have been like a Pilsner shape for beer, probably, actually. But,
Really?
yeah, but they're, or footed iced tea. That would be the other thing back in the time. But yeah, I think they're really pretty too. And you got 4 of those.
4.
And they're 90 years old. They're in perfect condition. And how much were they?
$10 for...
For 4. $2.50 a
Oh,
piece. I was just amazed.
Yeah.
Because, you know,
yeah, they sparkle really nice on top of the table. It really looks dressed.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
They're just great. We've been having orange juice in them. So that was fun. And then, show the tiered piece too. Yeah, because this was, so we saw this and it was kind of dirty and we weren't sure. Betty said, oh, do you think this is a good deal? And we'll tell the price in a minute. And I said, well, I think it's a fair deal. And then we came home and
you
found
said, it's Fenton. And I'm like, what?
Silver crest, again, the holidays are coming. The nice thing about this one is that it comes apart very easily, which is something you want to check because these are hard to store if you don't have a lot of space. And this you can take apart and stack into one nice little thing until you use it again if you don't leave it out all the time. But it's the silver crest with the 2 tiers, and it was $20.
$20, that's correct.
And she said, well, do you think this is a good deal? And I said, because my brain is in old antique dealer days, well, I think that's okay. Sure, it's fair. And then we got home and found out that they're selling for like $40 and $45. So actually, it was a very good deal.
Yeah, lovely, nice and heavy.
Yeah, really pretty. Okay, we will hold off on the rocks until you get back. Go get a drink. Yes. Oh, the paperweight. Yes, the paperweight is nice.
Oh, yeah.
And speaking of which, so my buys there. Speaking of paperweight, oh, here we go.
Yes.
She spotted this on the ground on a blanket, and I was like, oh yeah, look at that under the sun. This crazy guy is okay, and it's got the really strong gold color in it. It's just really fun. And if you turn it around, there is a mark on the back, and the mark is, um,
Let's see if you can spot it
is it
there.
Mad Glass? I think that's the name of it. Oh, I'll get out of the way so maybe it'll. There we go. And let's see. Yeah, I think it's Mad Studio. And it turns out that this studio started out in San Diego in
Mad
1989.
Art 2006.
Mad Art, that's right, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This one was made in 2006. This studio started in San Diego in 1989. The colors are really fun. Everybody loves cats. And the thing that was really surprising, they wanted a little bit of money. They knew it was nice. I think we paid the equivalent of about $35 for this.
Right.
They sell for about $85 plus shipping online. And the cat is one of the best things they made and one of the most popular. And of course, paperweights have become really interesting to people again, which I really am excited about.
The colors are amazing.
Yeah, the colors are really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and Cheryl says, yes, very 80s looking. Absolutely. Even though it was made later, you know, people train and then they get a style and it works for them. And all of their stuff has this sort of look of the late 80s, early 90s studio glass with lots of bright colors and lots of geometry. And yeah, I was very excited about that. There's another paperweight we'll show in a little bit that turned out to be pretty good. I haven't told you yet. Let's see, what else did I get at that swap meet? Got this because the San Diego Chargers are now the Los Angeles Chargers, and this is old enough to be the old San Diego logo, and it is made by Zippo, which is the thing people want. This has the upper and lower case. The older logos are the italics, but of course the Chargers are not here anymore, so we know that that's collectible. And I think it was $10, and it should probably sell for about $25. So I had to get that. And this was in the same space as the Fenton, and it's just a little piece. But when you see this enamel and you see a little bit of, it's oftentimes this green and white combination and then the gold in it. Look at the back and see if it has this name, Nekrasov. Nekrasov usually you don't see on the West Coast because he was an immigrant who came to Connecticut, started a studio. The studio did really well. Then the Second World War came and there were material restrictions, and he had to actually go work for another metal company, I believe, because he couldn't get the supplies. So then he moved after the war to Florida, and he and I believe it was his son started a studio there. So it was made in Connecticut and Florida. I've only found pieces in Florida before, and they've always sold when I've had them in Florida. And here's this one on the other coast. And I think they wanted $5 because they're just like, who knows who that is? Well, I did. So that was neat because it's probably a $20 piece, even though it's small. I really like enameled copper too, and a lot of people are really into copper now. Definitely true. Oh yes, and this is also true. Yeah, it does remind me of Brito's design. The glass cat does.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Let's see here. These were fun in the space that you got, the
Glasses.
pink glasses. Yes, they're just a set of bar napkins, but they're 1940s, and they have these very Art Deco Scotties who appear to be ice skating or something. They're going very fast. And they were $2 for the set, so that was fun. And then we went back at the very beginning, and I should have bought them. You snooze and you lose. I'd seen 2 Yadro dog figures.
Oh, they were lovely.
And it's so funny because, you know, we've been talking, we always talk about, oh, Yadro, it's very popular. You see it in Mexico.
No, very.
It's very popular in Florida. It's very popular in a lot of places. I bought a great piece when I was with Corinne Jones in Idaho, and it sold in Florida. And I passed up these 2 dogs because, well, we'd just gotten started and they were kind of expensive, and I wasn't sure. And I went back and someone had bought them both. But he had one other piece in the space, and it was kind of dirty. He was about the only, well, there were maybe 2 or 3. Again, this was a swap meet. There were probably only 2 or 3 vendors who were mainly antiques and vintage, and he was one of them. But I noticed that he didn't have any other porcelain than this. And on the bottom it said Minton, which of course is a very good company out of England. And this one's transferware, so it's not as valuable as their hand-painted pieces, but it had this interesting sort of ruffled edge for arranging flowers or whatever you put on the table. And I thought it was pretty too. And so I said, how much? And he said $10, and I couldn't get the money out fast enough because anything mitten this size is worth $10. And it turns out it's worth more like 35 or 40. So
Right. It's absolutely gorgeous.
it really is pretty. I was happy because when your aunt was looking at all
Yeah,
this
she's
stuff,
like, what is that? She said.
that's the one she went
Yeah,
to.
that's the one she went to. And
Mhm.
yeah, and I could see it like on the table with the flowers. Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So
Winner.
winter, yeah. So we had a great time in San Diego. We hit a Goodwill. We saw one or two things. We bought a practical item. We didn't really buy any vintage at the Goodwill. But that was it for California. Everything else we found has been here in Mexico. And boy, there was more. So we looked up antique stores, and one of them didn't exist anymore.
That's true.
And one of them we went to was really cool, and we'll show you in a video. And he had really interesting stuff, and it was all big, and it was all proppy, and it was all stuff like you could see someone from Hollywood coming down and buying these in a movie. It wasn't anything that was going to fit our budget or our car.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. And it was also a crazy store. I will say one thing. The stores here are very, 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 very crowded. Because that's when we went to the Bazaar. The other Bazaar.
Oh, yeah.
Pulin, is that? Or Police? We'll see
Police.
it in the Police,
Police,
yes.
which is a nickname. I don't know for what name, but Police. Yeah.
Yes. And we went there, and it was really a junk store. And we... and it was you, because you understood the music, you told me something interesting.
Oh, religious music.
Yeah. So probably raising money for some sort of a church or an organization. And but it was one of those places that they just keep bringing stuff in and piling it and piling it and piling it and piling it. And we were, again, looking for a piece of furniture for her house. We'd seen a really neat oak icebox when we'd driven by a few days before, which I guess they sold because it was gone. It was pretty well priced. They wanted $175 US, and it was probably a $400 piece, so someone discovered that. But we dug and we dug and we dug. And finally, and I mean, there was one point where I picked up a plate and the whole thing started to shift, and I shoved it back in so it wouldn't fall down.
Like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. It was going that way.
It was about to go completely. But at the bottom of one shelf, we found just a couple of little things, and one of them is this plate, which I'm sending to a friend of mine who lives in Copper Country in Michigan. This is like the furthest northern point on the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and she lives there and sells antiques there. And I thought, I've got to save this thing, because who is going to ever see this here and find it and take it back to Michigan? But I know someone who would love to have it, so I got that for her. And underneath it was this one.
That's a stunner. I love the
edge. I like this one too. Yeah, this one is. It's the back stamp is a company called Classic, which was not familiar to me. I actually thought it would be a Homer Laughlin piece. There's the back stamp, but this is a 1960s Florida plate, and you can tell 60s because all the attractions they show do not include Disney World. So anything that's older than that, and I'm seeing lots of Yay Michigan from the Michiganders out there. Hello to you all. So Florida is good, and the other thing that I think is funny is that this is one where they put the pelican on and there's no flamingos, which I just noticed actually. But that's just a fun thing. And the third piece I thought was very pretty, and it has an artist signature. Now, it's probably 1980s or maybe even 90s because it's in a styrofoam holder, but it has a signature down here that I haven't been able to make out yet. And it's a really nice hand-painted art tile. And it's got a mounting bracket on the back. And the hummingbird I just thought was beautiful. And since all three of those pieces together cost $5 US for all three?
Yeah, like 100 and some pesos.
Yeah. So it was such a bargain.
Pesos, yeah.
Yes. Oh, yes, we have a friend of ours here who loves Mexican mid-century, and we do too. And that is one thing that we haven't really seen much of yet. But I'm sure it's out there somewhere. I keep thinking, oh, we're going to find Los Castillos, or we're going to find. We did see a big Tonalá squirrel, but it didn't
Oh
have a
yeah, no
signature. And
signature. Yeah, it was lovely.
it was really cool.
Yeah, I mean I'm
They're
not
big.
big.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no signature, so.
But we found that when we went back to the Mercado, where we found something else that it's my first sale. I have to show you this. We had seen this at the Mercado. They were asking a price for it. I wanted to get it for a little less, but they're not common in this color. And it's this guy, this TV lamp. And he is just awesome. And he's chocolate brown. And so
yes, he is.
Betty took me back, and we got it. He's definitely 1950s, and the switch worked, and the plug was in good shape. And I thought, well, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get it. They gave us a little bit of extra stuff. Oh, this is interesting. We'll have to make a trip to Guadalajara sometime. That probably is where, yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sure that makes sense.
More central.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
we'd have
that's
to
where
hunt.
a lot of the people
Yes.
who would have bought it internally would have lived.
That's correct. Yeah.
So I thought, yeah, this is really cool. The brown's hard to find. I thought about trading it for my black one, and then I brought it back here to the house. And I can't show you because it'll mess up our thing, but
Setup. Yeah.
yeah. But if you were sitting in this house with me, you would realize that this color displays prominently in here. And so, because of that, it's yours.
Yes. Yes.
I set it down on the television in front of it, and I thought, oh, the floor is this color, the cabinets are this color, and it just, I mean, identical to the same shade and everything. And I thought, oh, this really...
It's interesting because when I saw it displayed with among all the other things, yes, I thought it was cool, but for some reason I thought, no, but it's brown. I think the correct color should be black.
Right.
For some reason, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you brought it and you put it in front of where it should go, in front of the TV. In front of the TV. In the TV room and everything, and I was like, oh my god, it matches my floors and all my decor. Yeah, and it's also very striking. You appreciate the mold, the it's almost like it's moving.
It's so muscular, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And I know Hager did these, and I don't know if other companies did. I love that the eyes are open and light comes out of the eyes when you light it up, and it just, yeah, it was so cool. And as soon as I set it there, I was like, oh, wow. I had that moment. I've had that happen a few times. I have a piece of Blanco that I'll never get rid of that I bought at a swap meet, and I literally took it out of the bag, set it up, and there it was sitting next to, oh, well, why am I taking this? It goes on your side.
Yeah, no, take it.
Okay, I'll put it over here where it's safe.
We will name him Jorge.
And yeah, I put the Blanco bottle up, and I walked in the other room, and I turned around and came back, and it was just like, it was just meant to be in that exact spot. And I really just set it there because I was going to clean it and put a price tag on it. So sometimes that's the one great thing about being a collector and then a reseller is sometimes, oh, it just, something speaks to you, and it's like, this is where it belongs. So. So that was really cool. Oh, and one other thing, and I have to give you credit. You told me to buy this. I wasn't so sure.
That's true.
But we watch Tiffany on Thrifting Vegas from time to time, and she buys Anna Lee. And we saw this at the swap meet. I had forgotten about this one. But it's the little couple, the Native American man and woman, and the teepee. And it had the New Hampshire label, which is the important part. It's got to say New Hampshire and not be made in overseas, because they switched to that at some point. And the fellow said $15, and Betty said, well, buy it. It's 3 pieces. That's a good deal. And I might have walked on it at 15 if she hadn't said, "Yeah, think about it, it's 3 pieces." And I thought, okay. And you were right because I went online, and in this condition, apparently these pieces get lost a lot. And so having it complete like this, 65 bucks.
There you go.
So, yes. So sometimes it pays to shop with a buddy because they have an eye
Yeah.
that you don't.
I mean, this is, super cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, cute counts.
And it's labeled right there.
Yeah.
It says 97.
97. Oh yeah, that was right near the end of the American production. So anyway, that was lots of fun. Okay, what else did we go back for? And then we'll talk about this weekend that we just had because we had something fun happen today.
Right. Oh yeah. But we went where?
We went back to the Mercado
We
again.
went back. Yes.
Because once you do well in a place, and
Yes.
besides it's right here down the block, and it's every Monday, and it's a nice
That's
walk
true.
around, and there's always the ice cream stand and
Yeah.
elotes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for some time I'd been trying to look for a palo fierro figure because I have family in the state of Sonora, and it's very popular to find carved pieces of wood over there. And I don't have anything here in my house, so when we were walking and I saw this turtle, I said, "Wow, that's so nice!" And it was a great deal, and I got it.
Yes.
So this is, and you said ironwood, right? Immediately.
Yeah,
This is
ironwood.
my
It's very heavy.
Yes, my first item, palo fierro, and this beautiful.
And if you
turtle.
show the bottom, they'll see some of the wood grain. Yeah, it's very nice. And it was $10, which is a
Right.
wonderful price, being in good condition and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's a really cool thing. I did not realize that. I didn't realize that in Sonora there was a lot of
Oh
woodworking.
yeah, I remember seeing these pieces in Sonora and around parks in Hermosillo since childhood.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And I'm sure that they had some pieces. Maybe my parents had a dolphin or a whale, eagles. Those are the sort of ones that I've seen more prominent.
More typically. Mm-hmm.
Yes, but this beautiful turtle
Cool.
made it here.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm a bad enabler because every time she's like, "Should I get this?" I'm like, "Yeah." Except
That's
today.
true.
Today I was good because we bought so much stuff today.
Yeah.
Let's see. And what did I get when we went back? A couple of things.
Yeah.
We went in just on a couple of mugs
Yeah.
because they were cute.
I'm gonna bring mine in mine.
Okay.
Little plates. I'll be back.
Yeah, we got a twofer on this one. She'll show the other one. But this one is Queen Elizabeth II, and it's not very old because this is from her Platinum Jubilee in 2022 when she'd been on the throne for, what was that, 70 years. And, of course, she is now no longer with us. I don't think they made a ton of stuff for this. I hadn't seen any, and I thought, well, even though it's fairly recent, she's not with us anymore, and it was just a few dollars. And it was made in England. Victoria Eggs, a very strange name. So, oh, interesting. Well, I'll bring it to Teak Stock if I still have it then. And then we were in another place. Well, actually, I'll let you show these because they came from the same place too. Yeah, so go ahead and.
Yeah.
This was the other mug. It was a twofer. I think we paid $5 for both, and I like that because it's Garfield, and
Mm-hmm.
I may not be perfect, but I'm always me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then, this was at the other place.
Oh, was it? Okay, yeah, that's the one that I'm. Yeah, speaking
Oh,
of, we'll
was it?
show
Okay.
these three. Yeah, we found a guy who mainly had just used housewares, and she picked this up, and it has a mark on the back that says Lawrence Wade, which I assume was a restaurant that they made this for, this pattern, because it's Cafe Wear by Shenango, probably 1950s or 60s in those
Mhm.
colors. And they had two of them,
Mm-hmm.
and she asked the price, and it was so impossibly cheap. It was like,
10 pesos.
yeah, which is like, what, 50 cents
Right.
for the pair. And
Yes.
so she said, yeah, why not? So then we went back to him the last week that we went, and go ahead and show your bowls too, because they're pretty cool.
Yes.
These are just clear, but they're a really great functional shape, and they're actually older Pyrex. And people are, of course, all mad about Pyrex in the colors right now, but what's great about these is the shapes. They're super functional. Um, People keep asking me why the um, why Pyrex is so popular. And yes, it's the colors and the patterns and the fact that lots and lots of people, almost every house had it, so everybody has seen it. But it's also because it's really functional. I mean, look at the shape of this
Mm-hmm.
for whisking, for pouring. I mean, it's just they really thought out the function of these things. And you got the
Mm-hmm.
three-piece set.
Yeah, incredible that they were there. Let me see if I can
Yeah, in
try
great
my
shape.
stack with this.
And they have the old Pyrex mark. Notice it's in capitals. So the older Pyrex, just like the older Zippo lighters, are capital letters. And then later on, they switch over to the upper and lower case. So that's a way to tell the age on those. There you go. And so it's like the egg beater Viking bowls. Yes, exactly. Um, Pyrex made Swedish Modern, which was teardrop shape back in the early 60s in colors, and that stuff sells for a ton. And this, I think you paid $5 for the set of three?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, $5.
So just, Betty has turned into something of a cook, which is really lucky for me. She's even teaching me a thing or two. Yeah, so they're pretty cool. And while she was looking at those, I noticed this sitting there. Now, this is a space full of housewares and everything is cheap and it's just whatever. And I saw this and it really jumped out. I thought, wow, that's really sparkly. It's very clear. This just seems like something really different. And so I picked it up and looked at the bottom, and it had a ground place on the bottom, and it had a little tiny etch signature, which will be hard to read. I had to use a loop to do this, but this turned out to be Orifors. I couldn't really read it. At first, I thought maybe it was Baccarat, which would have been even better. But this is a nice whiskey-sized decanter by Orifors from Sweden. I believe that I didn't see this one in any of the listings that I saw, but I saw similar sizes and similar designs priced anywhere from, and all these prices I'm telling you, when we looked them up, are completed actual sales. It's not pie in the sky. I wish I could get this. Things like this were selling between $85 and $150. And I said, how much? And he said, 150 pesos, $7.50. And, you know, again, it's a swap meet. And I have to say, most of the people we've talked to who are sellers down here, they're buying these things in bulk. So, and sometimes they're going to South San Diego, they're clearing out estates, they're clearing out storage lockers. I mean, they're getting this stuff really inexpensively. So they're making money, and as a reseller, you can as well, which is really interesting. Um, Interesting about this. I'll have to look into this. Cash settlement for people who own the Pyrex measuring cup. I have a feeling that probably at some point with the restyle, maybe they had a handle that didn't stay on or something. Um, and hello to all of you who've joined us a little bit later here. I saw somebody was asking about, are these things for sale? So here's the deal. We're not doing a live sale tonight because I'm still in Mexico and international shipping would be prohibitive. But if you see something that I bought that is an item that you would like to have, please send me an email to theantiquenomad@gmail.com, and I will respond to you. And those pieces, honestly, I bought more than I can bring back this trip. But I will bring pieces back that people have specifically asked for, and I'll be happy to give you a price. And if you decide you want it, then I will be glad to ship it to you. So send an email. I'm going to be here a while longer before I'm able to come over the border and do the shipping. So you probably have a week to reach me before I start making decisions about what we bring back over. And then other things I'll be bringing probably in January to February to the shows in Florida when I plan to come back. So let me see. That's the answer on that. Hello to all of you joined us a little bit later. We still have some more things to show you. We were very busy. Well, we went to an IMAX theater movie in this wonderful place called the Tijuana Cultural Center. Tijuana has grown so much since I was a kid. I lived literally, when we go down the street here, I can see where I grew up from where the border fence is, which is pretty crazy. And so it is right next door. And because of that, we have, we have access to get back and forth. And so I'm not sure where I was going with that other than, oh, yeah.
Oh, the el
Oh,
Centro Cultural.
yeah, that's right. So I remember Tijuana from many, many years ago when I was very little, and then coming here 30 years ago, and wow, has it changed.
Mm-hmm.
It is so multicultural. It is a big modern city. There's a ton of new buildings. There's a lot of stuff that's really state of the art, including the cultural center,
Right.
which was just cool.
Yeah, you just about missed that, I think, when you moved to North Seattle, probably.
Yeah, I think I
Just
missed it by
missed it.
about that
Yeah.
much. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really neat. It has an IMAX theater in the middle of it and an art museum. And again, you'll get to see some of these things when I put out videos.
Mm-hmm.
But in the meantime, so we went to.
Yeah, it was unexpected, right? Because we were just I said let's go to the IMAX theater, catch a couple of IMAX movies there.
One about the Mayans that was just amazing.
Yeah, and another one about the Amazon.
That was cool
a true
too.
Story.
Yeah.
About a curator, right, of nature.
Yes, an anthropologist who went there, and he was inspired by Darwin, and then went back with, I should remember his name, Henry something. He was English.
Bates.
Henry Bates, thank you. Yes, yes, and that was a great story too. So we went for that, but then
when we were going in that direction, there is a big explanada, big space.
Plaza.
Yeah, around the theater, the IMAX theater, and they were this weekend. It was for emprendedores, so for um, businesses that are mainly from home, that are mainly on social media, that are small business endeavors, and they were all there.
Yes.
Yeah, they could rent a space and be there for the weekend. And the nice thing was that you could set up the first day, of course, and then you don't have to remove anything of your stuff.
Right, because it's secure.
It's secure. There is security, and then the next day, you have your spot, and you can make sales again. Yeah, so it was the weekend, and there were a lot of people there.
Before you go on, I just have to highlight this because I think you'll laugh. Carlitos says the best Chinese food in Mexico or the U.S. And I'm just snickering because she tried to get me to go to Chinese the other night. She said, we can either go to Chinese or I can make tacos. And I was like, I love your tacos. So we came home.
Yeah, you haven't tried it yet. Mexicali is the best city in all of Mexico for Chinese food. Yes, but Tijuana is a very close second. Yeah, don't try Chinese food in any other state, please. In Mexico, no.
Not so good, yeah.
No, not so good. Only here in Baja California, please.
And yes, it's wonderful to get some balance time. But we went for cultural stuff, and we're walking around this fair, and lo and behold, what did we find?
We found a sign that said "Vintage Marta." Mm-hmm. And then we saw her layout, and it was all vintage things, and you started like recognizing things, and there's a glass, there's that, and then as we got closer, it was just overwhelming because she really had a lot of pieces out.
Yeah.
She had one of the cases as well, and so many little things that I've seen on your channel, or all of your channels, yes.
Yeah, and that was again,
toys.
She had toys. Yeah. She had a wonderful beaded purse. If it had been just in a little better condition, it'd be in my hands right now. uh, yeah, she had a nice variety of stuff. It was like suddenly I was in a booth in an antique show, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
wow, because again, Tijuana is a pretty new city. It wasn't established until 1889, so it's not like there's this long history of antiques and antiquities here like there are in other parts of Mexico, and it's really grown so much recently that it's a very modern city. So there's not a ton of antique stores, and we weren't looking for antiques or vintage at all, and here it is right in front of us.
Right. Yeah.
And one thing led to another, so show what you got from her.
Okay. Well, this amazing little piece, just the fact that it's a you mentioned it to me. I didn't see it at the beginning. You said there's a hand that is holding the cup, and I
Yes.
said, "What? A
Hmm.
hand? How could this be?" And there it is. It's lovely, lovely with the swirls.
Yes.
Yes. When
And
you, yeah.
if you look at the swirls, you'll notice that it looks a lot like those marbles from the 1930s and 40s, and that is because these were made by Acro Agate, who made those marbles with the swirls in the 1930s and 40s. And you got another piece too,
Yes.
and I've always
I
liked
thought
this
it was
piece.
so cute.
Yes. And so they had a number of the swirled pieces, just some of the little novelties, and her prices were very fair. She was charging $5 each for them,
Hmm.
and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's great.
And then I got this little dish.
Yeah, that's very sweet too." I believe that is Crown Staffordshire bone china from England.
That's true. It's made in England.
Yeah, nice little hand painted flowers, and all hand painted actually, and that's always impressive to me because they just not many people are doing this kind of work anymore because it's just too expensive. Even in China, it's too expensive to hire people to paint by hand now. Oh, you have that shell dish. That's cool. And then this piece,
One.
which is Fenton. I know our Fenton finders and fanciers out there will recognize this piece. I actually sold this piece on a show with Rosie's Auction House.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I watched those. Those are fun.
And yeah, and I think that it went for $20 plus shipping, which was a fair price. And how much was yours?
I think I paid
Equivalent
$10.
of yeah, I think it was the equivalent of 10.
Yeah.
It might have even been a little less, maybe
Yeah.
$7.50. It was a good deal.
Yeah, I think.
And it
Maybe
says
that.
Fenton on the side on this particular one in the stem. It's hard to see, but that
It's
was
hard to
unusual. Yeah. Usually they're marked on the bottom, but I guess because the bottom is scooped, they didn't do it that way.
So lovely at the bottom. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool that you're learning about marbles. If you ever find a bunch of marbles, any of you, I did a video from White Cloud, Kansas. You can see in the playlists on the main channel, and a fellow with a bunch of marbles told us all about them, so you can check that out too. And then
And then I got, well, then we talked to Marta.
yes, I got a couple of things from her at that show, including this little guy, which they had in a box. And we found out about this because she sent us pictures, but we'll get to that story in a minute. So we went back and picked him up because she said, "Oh, I have some things you didn't see," and this was one of them. And I just love this guy. I had something like this when I was a kid, just silly, fun Day-Glo ceramic bank from the early 70s. He's in great shape. And that was, oh gosh, I think again about $7.
Yeah.
And
That
oh,
piece,
yes,
yeah.
that's right. And I thought this was nice because, we do have the holidays coming, and one of those holidays for some folks, of course, is Hanukkah. And because this is the 9 candle, this is a Hanukkah set. You have the helper candle and then one for each of the 8 days that the oil kept burning in the lamps. And when you open this, it shows the tablets with the 10 Commandments and says Shalom underneath there. And then on the back, they have, I assume this is the Wailing Wall on the back.
Yes, I would say yes.
And then on the bottom, it has a mark. Mm-hmm.
And there are crowns on the back.
Yes, it's really well detailed, and I just am really liking the. There you go. There's the mark, except I think I have it upside down. But I'm really liking Israeli brass. I like painted brass, and
on the front and the back, the crowns.
Yeah, there's the crowns. Yes.
Here and then again on the back.
Mm-hmm. And I just thought this was very cool, and it's the right time of year for it. And
Yes, I thought it was cool too.
if it makes it that far, it will go to me with the to the show in West Palm Beach in February.
Yeah.
But then that led to a conversation.
Yes, because we were like, oh my God, what is all this? So we talked to Martha, the owner, and I asked her, do you have more pieces at home that we can see? Because we are so impressed with all of your pieces here, the way you've presented them and curate them. And she was giving us information. Of course, I have the expert right here, right? But yeah,
But I was impressed. She knew what she had. She
Yeah.
greeted everybody who came in. She wanted to
Yes.
talk about this stuff. And I was like, ah.
Yes, and she said, "Well, I have an Instagram, and you can watch it there." And we exchanged phone numbers, and then we went to see another movie. And when that movie was finishing, she sent me photos. She said, "Oh, I'm sending you these pictures because they are in my phone." And they were lovely, lovely pieces. And you said, yes, I'd be interested. So we said, listen, why don't we meet somewhere in the middle between where she lives and where I live? And could you show us the pieces that you have? Because she had mentioned that she had a big lot of items.
Yeah,
And she said, "Well, what is it exactly that you are looking for? Because I have a lot of stuff at the house, right?"
Mhm.
And once we narrowed it down, and we did go and meet her, and yeah, there were more
Today,
pieces.
as a matter of fact.
More pieces that were very, very
And
interesting.
suddenly there was more than I could possibly carry with me.
Just like that.
After I told you at the beginning, I'm going to make sure I don't overdo this and end up having it. Well, that's fine because
Yeah, that goes out the window really fast.
it went right out the window. It always does. I always warn people, if I'm around long enough, you're going to end up with a pile. And so, yes, we met her today. And
well, you got this one that day.
Oh, yes, that's right. I should show this one.
Along
yes.
with the lion.
This is very silly. It sort of went with the lion. This guy, I know you're going to look and say, oh my gosh, that's kind of homely, but it was intentionally so. This is Pottery Craft. They did a line of silly anthropomorphic characters in the late 70s, and they all had fun names and a tag, and it was a gift thing. And if you think about it, it's very 70s looking stoneware. I can't remember what the cat's name was, but it's supposed to have a Cheshire cat grin, and it says TIC on the back, which is Treasure Craft, and or I'm sorry, PIC, which is Pottery Craft. And I did not have an example of this, and I am still planning, folks, and I don't have a date yet. At some point, I am going to actually do a live about Treasure Craft, talk about the book, talk about some of the pieces, and I didn't have any of these to show, so I will talk about it when I have the book and can remember the whole story, because there is a cute story about these. And so I had to have him. And this one came today in the lot, but this is another one. This is another silly Treasure Craft thing, but we have a collector of Treasure Craft who is in Minnesota, and this had the Minnesota nameplate, and it's these bare feet, and we're at the beach in Tijuana, so it just seemed appropriate. Oh, interesting. Susan has the Treasure Craft turtle. Yes, that one was called Turtle Lou, of all silly things. And they originally came with a paper label with their name on it. So we met her today.
Yes.
Yes. And amongst other things that we got, and there were a bunch, we got a nice, oh, I shouldn't say that. We got something for her aunt that's a gift for someone, so we won't say what it is in case they see this. But the main thing that she had was a whole bunch more Acro Agate, a huge collection, like 2 big bins full of it. And when I saw it, I thought, I haven't seen that much Acro Agate in years. And I was thinking, I think the last time I remember we had a dealer in Washington who, when I was running malls 30 years ago, who had a bunch of Acro Agate in their space. And right about when I was thinking that, I pulled this vase out of the box, and it's very happy mustard yellow with the slag glass. And I'll be darned if it doesn't have a tag from our Space 10 in Centralia Antique Mall. I probably sold this piece for a dealer 30 years ago, and there it was staring at me again, and it still got the $22 price tag from back then. And I was just like, okay, this is fate. Everything is coming back around. And so I decided I had to have this one. They must have gotten a really screaming deal on this stuff because she basically sold us every piece for the equivalent of $2.50 a
Yeah.
piece. Yeah. Now, Acro Agate, a lot of the little pieces only used to sell for $5 or $7, but a couple of things have happened since then. Certain colors have turned out to be harder to find, and I think that this swirl, just like with the marbles, certain color combinations were made for shorter periods of time. So I think that this one is actually a different kind of color combination, so we'll look into that. I'm going to show you some solid color ones. I honestly mostly bought swirls, but there's so many that we'll divvy those up and eventually figure it out. But I'll let you hold one and I'll hold one.
Oh, okay.
This one is an orange and custard swirl. And then, of course, we have the jadeite, which is just a great color. And these are Art Deco because Acro Agate was big in the 30s and 40s. And you can tell Acro Agate because there was another company. She only had one piece by the other company, but it's called Vogue Products, and they were in New York. Acro Agate was in West Virginia. Right here, this little eagle mark on the back is the mark. And you can see Made in USA on it. And that is how you tell an Acro Agate piece. And yes, it is very collected with marble collectors, and I think that's part of the reason why people are starting to get interested in this stuff. It used to be that what they mainly wanted with Acro Agate were these little pieces, the children's wear sets. I did buy a few little covered dishes and things. But what has become more popular, and what I bought a bunch of, is anything of theirs with a custard appearance because, and I have the puniest, tiniest blacklight, but you'll see this stuff glows under a blacklight. And that is why a lot of people are wanting these swirled colors now because it's so thick you can't really see it through the glass that way, but you get the idea. All of these ones with the custard are going to glow under a black light. And so I bought every single piece in the custard that she had. And they are selling online between about $10 and $25 a piece.
Right.
So her prices were very, very fair.
Yeah. But she was very happy to, let go of that merchandise, that lot. I think she had already sold quite
I bet she
a lot.
did. I bet she got a great bargain on the whole thing. My guess is that it probably was something, because I think she said something to you about where she was sourcing.
No, we talked about where she sells.
Oh, where she sells, that's right.
Yeah.
And yes, Pammy Whammy, it is slag glass. That is absolutely, slag is anytime you see this sort of swirling pattern with more than one color in it. So marbles of this era are slag glass. These pieces are slag. You see it in old stained glass windows and such. But my guess is that, especially since I found a piece with our old mall tag on it, is that she bought some big collection. Probably somebody put it in storage. They ended up buying the whole thing for one price. So, it's the fun thing with reselling. You get a bunch and you pass it on and everybody's happy, and eventually these will go back to new collectors and they'll be happy too. So, but yeah, I think we got 70 pieces of it today.
Right.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah. So yes, the base glows just like the marbles, exactly. So anyhow, I think we've pretty much shown you the haul, but we have a little treat for you jewelry lovers, and also just because it's fun and interesting. Betty's going to show us a little bit of her jewelry collection that she's amassed over years, and talk about particularly some of the pieces that come from Mexico, as well as the lovely earrings she's wearing. So
yeah. Well, before I'm going to talk about this.
Oh yes, piece, we skipped that.
Yeah, this little plate I saw on her stand, and I almost bought it, but I asked her to bring it again, And the reason I bought it, I don't know if you can see it right there,
Oh yeah.
is because yes, it's Christmas and 'tis the season, but at the bottom there's a unicorn. And as soon as I saw that, it reminded me of my Auntie Sylvia, and she used to collect a lot of things for unicorns, and kind of
Oh,
reminded me of her. And I said, well, I think I'm gonna buy it because I've never seen a Christmas tree with a
I've
unicorn at the
actually
bottom.
never seen this pattern before either, and it's a pretty decent company, and it's
Yeah,
a good.
you see the company.
Yeah, this is Mikasa.
Yeah.
And Mikasa, very popular in the 1980s when unicorns became a big thing as the
Yes,
decorating
and it's
accent.
a lovely little plate.
Yeah.
$5.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, great
it was
price.
cute.
I
Yeah.
feel like Mikasa is one of those companies that in the future, I remember they had factory stores and specialty stores, and they were really a thing for a while. So I feel like there's something to look for.
That's true. Okay, so now we are going to begin with the jewelry. So all of the items that I'm going to show to you today, I bought here in Mexico, mainly on travels to central Mexico or southern Mexico as well. And let's see, let's begin. So I'm going to start with amber, which is a lovely, lovely little stone. And you're going to see this has the tag. These are earrings. Let me see. There you go. There they are, dangling. Beautiful, beautiful, sort of honey kind of looking
Yeah, I like the
color
honey
of the
amber.
amber. Yes. And the tag, I don't know if you can see there, with the red letters,
Ah,
is a store that many of you
Sanborns.
know,
Mm-hmm.
Sanborns. That's correct. And the reason I wanted to show the tag, and there's even the price, I think I paid 929 pesos. There you go. And here's the other, they're a pair, of course, they're earrings. Let me see if I can show.
And Sanborns is a company with a really interesting past. They were actually founded by Americans who left California and set up the first store in 1903. And silver is something that they
Mm-hmm.
had produced, and their silver is very collectible now.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And it's still a very popular store all over the country. And I wanted to show you the tag because if you are ever, right, traveling and you happen to be at a Sanborns, it is a great place to go and catch a little knickknack. I like to what that's my vibe. That's basically what I like to purchase when I'm traveling.
Mm-hmm.
It's a jewelry, earring, something like that. It's easy to move, pack.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's a
and
fun reminder of where you've been,
absolutely,
and you'll use it.
exactly. And the other day we went to dinner and I wore this little piece, and these are lovely pearls. And Sanborns, I bought them there, and they are also a wonderful place to catch maybe something
And
with
those
pearls.
look like natural pearls.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I learned about in Mexico when we were on the Sea of Cortez, where the black
Right.
pearls are being harvested. The natural pearls mean that they have actually allowed them to grow and that they're not cultured. Cultured pearls, which are made a big deal of for marketing purposes, actually they don't let the oyster, they want them to be perfectly round, so they don't let the oyster do layers and layers and layers. And because of that, they're very thin and they tend to peel. So cultured pearls are not really superior in quality, even though they have been sold to us as being a better thing. So
Mm-hmm. And amber comes in a lot of different colors and mountings. I bought this one because at the very top, I think you can see, we call it Alcatraz, calla lily.
mm-hmm.
And there is a famous painting by Diego Rivera with the Alcatrazes, and it reminded me of that painting. So I purchased this, and for many years I would wear this very often. And here it is.
I love calla lilies, and yes,
Yeah.
I remember that painting, and also calla lilies were a very big decorating motif in the 1980s, so we're seeing a renewal in interest in things with that pattern. Someone asked how much 929 pesos is, and it's probably changed since you purchased that piece.
So right now it would be like 50.
Currently, it'd be like $50 or a little less.
Yeah. And here's another lovely necklace. Again, amber, and I really like this one because it features all the colors, like the honey one, the darker one, the sort of yellow, sort of like an opal one. Yeah, yeah, so lovely. And of course, this is a very demure necklace, but with amber you can play.
Yes, you can.
And we can go big. Look at this incredible piece.
Yeah, those are amazing.
Right
this
here.
reminds me of what I saw when I was in the amber markets in Poland. Now, where does the amber come from? Is there amber in Mexico?
Yes, yes, there is. And I'm going to show you here. These next pieces were curated in the state of Chiapas. I don't know if you can see down there. It says Tuxtla Gutierrez, Chiapas. Tuxtla Gutierrez being the city and Chiapas being the state. And the next pieces that I'm going to show you are from there. These pieces, I did not curate them myself. I have been to Chiapas, but I did not purchase them. What happened is that a friend of the family, this beautiful lady, was born there, and she is a family, a friend of the family, and she's a retired teacher, and she was traveling over there to visit family. So I gave her money, and she was kind enough to buy these beautiful pieces for me, and I'm going to show them to you right now. And these are earrings and a pendant. There they are. This is more of a honey color. And then this one is a darker, very rich tone, kind of root beer.
And what's fun about these is you can see where,
Again, earrings and a pendant.
and the first one has more of a traditional and frilly look, and then these are very modern.
Right.
Even though they're a very similar setting.
Mm-hmm. And I have one more piece that comes with a bracelet. And this is a combination. This is the one I wear more often, because here is a combination of the amber with the pearls. Just so striking, so lovely. And it comes with a bracelet that I'm going to show right now.
And again, I just really like the juxtaposition of textures. You have the smooth, round amber, the way it's polished, and then the pearls are allowed to be natural, so they actually have a little bit of dimension, instead of the way we usually think of pearls, where they're the round piece in the setting.
Yeah. And this even has the marking of the jeweler, which is here. Galeria Esmeralda, right there. See, same one. And we have a little map over here. And let's see, where's Chiapas? Chiapas is going to be right here. See, next to it is Oaxaca. Wait, on the other side. There we go. And it borders with Guatemala, which is over here.
And so they actually have amber deposits in Chiapas.
That's
I did
right.
not know that, but I didn't know there were black pearls in the Sea of Cortez until I went to Guaymas right before I met you. So there's a lot of, there's always been, it's why it was the center of the Spanish Empire in the New World, is because mining is such a prevalent thing here, and so there's lots of choices.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Let's see. Okay, there we go. And then there is another beautiful stone that I really, really like to source whenever I travel.
Oh, yeah, I like this.
Yes, I know.
I've always liked this, and this is something that in the States that is, sometimes you'll find it at good deals. Some people know what this is, and some people are not as aware of it.
Mm-hmm. This beautiful stone is called Venturina. And as you can see, it sparkles like for days. And I think that's what I like.
Yes, sparkly is always
so
good.
Sparkly, yes. These are not very expensive, actually. And again, like we went to the tianguis or the flea market, you can find them there. Sanborns as well. Where else? I don't know. Whenever we travel and there is, a store, and I like to go to the jewelry department and
Mhm.
see what they have. Yeah, I've also been to Tonalá, and Tonalá has a wonderful um, tianguis as well, or flea market.
Mhm.
They have them on Thursdays and Sundays. And I have some, I don't know, I think they're here. Some of them I've sourced there. So always look out. Now, here is a ring in Venturina. Also, Guadalajara is a wonderful, wonderful place to source jewelry. They have a, what they call a jewelry um, mercado.
Oh, just a market
Yeah,
strictly for
it's
jewelry.
a building actually.
Mm.
And there is the modern one, which I recommend highly. And then there's the old one. I would recommend you go to the modern one. And I'll show you pieces that I've sourced there as well.
Ah, yes, and Corinne is using the American term because we know it as goldstone, yes.
Oh, thank you, Corinne. I did not know that, but
Hmm.
yes, isn't it lovely? I love it. And this is in the brown or chocolate kind of tone or color. Here are some earrings, which are lovely. Look how modern that is with a little
Oh, I really like
pebble.
that.
Yeah.
It's almost like a pair of tweezers holding it very
Yeah.
delicately.
Yeah. But here's another pendant, and look how different this one is.
Oh, very nice with the wire wrap that just
Right.
follows the texture of the stone and the shape. Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you're wearing this and the sun hits it, holy loli. Yeah, so lovely. And Venturina also comes in other tones.
This was something I didn't know until you showed me these.
Yeah. Here's the midnight blue or blue one. Let's see. There. See?
Yeah,
I
this
think you can
one,
see the sparkle.
yeah, this one really pops when you're outside in sunlight,
Right.
though.
Uh-huh.
We saw a piece at the Mercado, and when you saw it in natural sun, it was like, bing, there it
Right.
is.
Yes. And these pendants that I'm going to show you are from the state of Aguascalientes. And which is all, yeah, many minerals there. And I'm going to show you the green Venturina, which is absolutely lovely.
Yeah, I was so surprised this came in
Yeah.
3 different colors and maybe more. Yeah, that's very nice. I mean, at first sight, you would think maybe jade or chrysoprase, but then you actually see the little sparkle in it.
Yeah, this is a lovely, lovely piece, a big piece. And I also sourced this onyx pendant there.
I really like Mexican onyx, and this is a really nicely shaped one, in my opinion. And these are mainly in sterling mounts, of course.
Yes. See, Aguascalientes is a very, I think the smallest
It's a very
state.
small state
It's
geographically, yes.
right there in the center, right there. Yeah. They have a big fair, state fair called San Marcos. Yeah, lovely. And they are also go big with Dia de Muertos. They have a
Uh,
parade that's just passed this November. They also have a festival, I think. And the reason why is because Mr. Posadas, Jose Posadas, was the original artist that came up with the skeleton figure and the Katrina.
oh,
So, and there's a museum of his with his name.
and he was from there.
And yeah, he was from there.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's a very small state, but lots of things happen there.
I have a good friend
Yeah.
who taught me everything about Blanco Bill. You've heard me talk about, and he grew up in Indiana, and his family, he was an only child, and so Memorial Day was very important to his parents because they wanted him to feel a connection to all the family who had gone before. And when he moved to Tucson, he discovered Dia de los Muertos, and he has a giant celebration every year. And I've been sending him pictures of every Muertos display that we've seen to give him inspiration. Oh, here we go. Now this, if our fossil collector is still in the house, we will show you a piece that
Okay.
I think you'll appreciate.
Yes. This is a set of three. It is a bracelet, a ring, and a pendant. And I bought this at the Guadalajara, the jewelry market, which is a building. And it's like 4 stories or something. Yeah, you're not going to miss it. It's in the center of Guadalajara. And here is the bracelet.
Wow, that's so fun. And to see that raw exterior and then all of that shine. I'm sure if you were in an underlit room and it caught just right, everybody would notice it.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And here it is. Again, these are pieces that have been collected through time. It's not like, oh yeah, I've been there twice and this is what I got. No, no, no.
It's funny because, yeah, it looks like a parure, like a set that all went together, but you said you acquired these at different points.
No, this set I did.
Oh, that set you did get as a
but
set. Okay.
the pieces, I mean, yeah. And here's the ring. Let's show the ring right there.
Yeah, that's just fun.
Yeah. Now this is very, chunky and big. Like, can you see?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But again, with jewelry, there's something for everyone. These were sourced in the same mercados, another trip, and you're going to see how different they are here in a minute. And this is a set of a pendant, a bracelet, a ring, and earrings. Here we go. And these are combined with like mother of pearl.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah.
I especially like the center stone with the swoosh in it.
Right. It's sort of like the Acro Agate that you just
Yeah, in a way,
showed.
exactly. It's
Yeah.
like
Now
real
you
slag.
can see that this, rest lower, shall we say, on the wrist than the other one that was very chunky. This is more demure. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's
I had
see.
not seen a geode bracelet before either, actually, and I've been doing this a long time, so that surprised me.
And here's the pendant that goes with that. It's nice to have the set.
Oh, I like that. And it's interesting they found that, the stone just speaks to you sometimes. I like that they found the way that the swirls all went and give it a geometry.
Right, the earrings right there. And this one has a ring as well. Let's clean this up a little bit.
If I get off the screen, it focuses better.
That's fine. Yeah. Let's see. And now I'm going to show you a piece that
Does it glow? I don't know. My black light is so weak, I don't think it would tell us.
I'm going to show you this beautiful, lovely piece. And this one is not from Mexico. This is from San Diego because, well, I live at the border.
Right.
In this one, I purchased at, it must have been the gift shop. And this was in Balboa Park.
Oh, yes, where the World's Fair was held in 1915. A wonderful place.
Look at that.
Yeah, I really like that one. Again, the combination of smoothness and texture, and then you have the opening into the stone with all the glitter.
Right, look at that. Glitter's right there.
There it is.
Yeah, and this was signed on the back, and I believe this young woman who is, well, it has a little marking. That's what I meant. But apparently she also curated pieces for Nordstrom's here in San Diego.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I remember they telling me this. So there you go. So museums and museum shops are also a wonderful source of um, of some of these items. It
That's
turns out,
true because they do get good quality things, and the things that you see in a museum shop today in 20 or 30 years are vintage, and they came from a great place. And so, yeah, I see older museum shop things that are definitely collectible in vintage markets now. So, yeah, I've definitely bought a few things there.
hmm
Two of my favorite amber pieces came from the Chopin Museum, and
hmm
it's funny. We walked all through Gdansk and all through the amber markets, and I didn't buy anything. And then we get to the museum, and the museum shop had two amber pieces that were musical instrument pins, and I thought these are better than anything for me for what I would use than what I saw in the middle of the amber market. So,
hmm Okay, so these three pieces, there are two pendants and a pair of earrings. And these I sourced with a couple that were selling in Tonala, in the Tonala market. Okay?
so funny. I just only thought of Tonala for ceramics, and now you're
Yeah.
showing me there's all this.
No, the market is, I mean, it goes on forever. It's sort of like the when you have that sale in Kentucky.
Oh
What is
yeah,
it
the
called?
100 mile
Miles?
sale.
It's
Yes,
sort of
yes.
like that. It goes on for miles. Yeah, it's sort of like that. Here we go. This is a pendant, and it's a very sort of green turquoise color. It kind of reminded me of the colors that you see on the sea in Cancun.
Hmm.
Yeah, and yeah, I thought it was lovely, and I got this. Now this is the center because it has a little swirl over here at the top. See this? I mean, this is the front, right? Now the back. There we go. And then I got this piece, this blue piece. I don't remember the name of the stone, but it's a
Oh,
very
it's not
beautiful.
lapis, it's the other one, and I always get
Yeah,
them confused, and I never can remember the name of this one.
and
Someone out there might know.
and these came with the earrings. Let me see if I can. There we go. The earrings,
Oh,
sort of
yes.
articulated, but they match. Let's see. So yeah, I mean, you never know just where. Uh, these were made by the lady who sold them, so that's lovely that I have that handmade.
And then there's what you're wearing.
Yes, let's talk about that. Okay. So my earrings. I don't know if you can see. Let's see if I can remove one. This might be what started it all. These are my grandmother's amethyst earrings with gold filigree. There you go.
Those are so beautiful.
Yeah, and these are my paternal grandmother, but my mom had them, and I think when I turned 18, she gave them to me. So this would have started it all. And they're just lovely. I love them. I wear them on special occasions. And actually, my grandmother was born in Guadalajara, which is interesting because on a trip over there, I sourced a a ring and earrings also. But I like to wear my grandmother's earrings with this beautiful ring. It's a pear shaped. There we go. Pear shaped amethyst. There we go. You're in the shot. Yeah. And it came with earrings, which these are, more like everyday sort of kind of.
Oh, very pretty dough.
Yeah. And yeah, they match. Now, interesting because I was born in February, so amethyst is my birthstone. So everything just,
Oh, that's great. It was just meant to be.
yeah, came
I
together.
just love your grandmother's earrings. I
Yes.
presume from the style, they seem Edwardian to me, maybe 19 teens, I would think, or 20s. But they're just gorgeous.
Mm-hmm. There they are. Yeah. And again, amethyst and aquamarine are lovely stones and fairly common, in jewelry, especially Guadalajara. I think you might find those there.
And then one last thing, I think it's the last thing, although if there's more, you're certainly welcome to show.
Uh-huh.
Oh yes, the La Brea Tar Pit Museum is actually very good. That was a
Yeah.
place that I found interesting things as well.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna
This
talk
is what
about.
I want. Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Okay, so
A different
here we
style
go.
of jewelry, but
This, yes, this style of jewelry, this is canutillo. I don't know if you can see that. It's a flower, and it has like a, let me see. There we go. I'm gonna turn it around. See,
yeah.
it has that, and this comes with earrings. Now let's show the earrings.
And if you look closely, you'll see the detail in them. There is the Thunderbird in the middle of the design as well. So the
Right.
Thunderbird and the flower offset each other. And what is the story about those as far as?
And earrings, well, right here.
Okay.
And they're here also. Well, this style of jewelry is very similar, and there are the eagles. Can you see? You can see the flowers, and underneath the flower are the two eagles. And this style of jewelry it's sort of like the huichol art,
Yes.
right? And the huichol art comes from the state of Nayarit, which I'll show in a minute. Now, as far as the eagle, it's very important to us in culture because you find an eagle in our national flag.
Right.
So, yeah, it's our national bird as well, I suppose. Yeah. So, yeah, it must mean something. In there in the Huichol
Context of their culture,
yes,
yeah.
which I do not know what it is, but to have an animal there, it must be some kind of spirit. And let's see, where's Nayarit is right here. It is also a smaller state, Pacific state. And yeah, a lot of the art that you see with Canutillo comes from there. And then there is this other piece.
Yeah, and I
this
understand Huichol art is starting to be an endangered thing, that there's just
right.
not a lot of people doing it anymore.
That's correct. And here is another piece. This one is again from the state of Chiapas. And this is Canutillo as well. I really love the colors here.
That reminds me
the
a lot
mix of the
of
colors.
bugle bead necklaces made in the 1940s and 50s in New York, actually, which makes me think they got the idea from somebody who
Right.
came here and saw that.
Right.
We have a question here that you might
Yeah.
know that I don't, so I'm going to put it up on the screen. Is the green part the Al Rain God Chakmul?
Oh, the green part here? No, you know what I think? If you're talking about, see, the flower, the eagle, and then the green part, I think the green part might be the nopal, a cactus.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. If that's what you're talking about. Yeah, again, it's in our national symbol. And here are the earrings of that other piece. Lovely. Yeah, and you know, Canutillo is not that expensive, but it's lovely and it sparkles, which is why I like it. And it's another type of jewelry that can be sourced. Actually, I bought this. Oh, small hearts. Let's see. Yes, like in the flower. It could be. You mean like right there?
I think maybe she's referring to
Oh,
this.
yes. Let's watch that.
Yeah, I think that's what she's asking about. And yes, actually, they do look like
There.
small hearts, and I did not even see that.
There, yeah.
Interesting how much detail there is when you really
Exactly.
start to look at these.
Yeah.
It's very deliberate.
Yes, it is very deliberate. Yes. And I can, oh, here they are. Here they are, dearest. And there are the earrings. You see? Yeah. Lovely. A special set for me. My mom gave me that set, so.
Ah,
Yeah.
that's so nice. Jewelry
Yeah.
oftentimes is sentimental in those ways. and then
Yeah.
it gets you going. And what a fun collection! Thank you for sharing it. When
Yes,
she
it
showed
was
me,
fun.
when we started looking at the turquoise, she said, "Oh, I have some interesting jewelry," and I looked at it. I'm like, "Oh, wow!" And then I said, "This is really interesting. I wish our viewers could see this." And she's like, "Well, why not?" So
Yes,
thank you for sharing all that.
yes, and again, if you're traveling, not just in Mexico, but wherever you decide to go, these are fun. They're fun to connect with them. If you're buying something, it's because they have a certain meaning to you or attraction to you.
And also about the place they came from, which is a nice
Right,
memory
a
too.
nice memory. Once you get back and you talk about your travels and all this, they're easy to move. They don't take a lot of space, and I hope that what we talked about today gives you a little more insight into what you can find here in Mexico, and go treasure hunt and enjoy.
Well, and it's given me more nomadic places that I want to go now. And to that end, by the way, if any of you went to the show in Florida, my friend that I sell next to, uh, she she said, people said, "Where's George?" And she informed them that I had moved to Mexico. And I want to assure you that as much as I love it here and as much as I plan to spend a nice amount of time here, I have not completely moved away. And you will see me in Florida in February, and other haunts in the United States in the usual times that I go there. So fear not, I will be all over the place like I tend to be. But I have a new place that is high on my list, and I not just you, but now the people in the chat talking about some of these places.
Yes.
Boy, the list is growing. So
Yes, yes.
yes.
I remember someone mentioning when the video, what was it, at the beginning of the year, and we went to that
Oh yes, in
big
Mexico
mall
City.
gallery,
Mm-hmm.
or yeah, antiques, and someone mentioned that they had purchased something in that store. The very
Oh
first one we
yes,
went in.
that's right.
The very first one we went into. Oh yeah, I purchased. A subscriber mentioned that.
That
So
is so cool.
there you go.
And yes, Penny, I will come to New Harmony too. It's on the list. So I just will have to be even more all over the place because there's so many wonderful places to go in this world, and that's why I'm the nomad. So, and there's one more thing that I think
Yes.
you have here.
Well, this is from, again, my collection. It is a pendant. You can see it's like a little angel with the umber stones. And this I will be donating to George. And he will somehow make some fun thing. And one lucky subscriber will get this beautiful pendant, okay? With all my love and joy to all of you.
Oh, that's so sweet.
And
And if I
just,
knew how to do that right now, we would spin the wheel, but I don't.
and
We'll
I
have to
brought a,
wait till Zeno,
yeah,
and we'll do another live, and
that's
Zeno
true.
will
See no
set
help.
that up.
And here is I bought a quarter so you can see just the size. And there it is. And someone's getting an angel sometime soon.
Ah, that's just wonderful. Well, thank you so much. I will put that in to take, and well, thank you for everything. This has just been lovely. I'm so glad
so
you
much
were able and willing to
fun.
join me tonight. I'm so glad all of you were able to join us tonight too, and I hope you had as much fun as we did. Again, if you saw something that I held up in the hall, and this will be available for replay, just so you know, when we do the lives, they go down for a little bit so that we can truncate the beginning with the "Gee, can you hear us?" and all of that, so that when they're in the replay, you don't have to go through all of that. But then they will reappear shortly thereafter, and so you'll be able to look again. And if you saw something that I picked up, please email me if it's something that you would like to have for your collection at theantiquenomad@gmail.com. And if it's something you saw Betty pick up, well, they're in her collection, and so sorry, you'll just have to come here and shop with us sometime.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody. Well, this was great fun, and good night, and thank you for joining us.
Bye bye.